On this day, August the 6th, 1945, during the World War II, an American B-29 bomber dropped the world's first deployed atomic bomb over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. The explosion immediately killed an estimated 80,000 people. Tens of thousands more would later die of radiation exposure. 3 days later, a second B-29 dropped another atomic bomb on Nagasaki, killing an estimated 40,000 people. It was a black day. Now, when the test bomb was exploded, Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, one of those who worked on the bomb, remembered an old saying, "I am death, the destroyer of words." Today, we remember the one who came to bring life and not death, light and not darkness, the one who lit up the mountain not with a bomb but with his glory when he was transfigured before his disciples. The Transfiguration served as a significant moment of revelation, displaying the divine glory and uniqueness of Jesus to his disciples. It was an event that gives us many points to reflect upon. We are told that Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John. They formed his inner circle of friends, and to them he gave the privilege of knowing more of his inner life and nature. They were selected for various reasons. Peter for his energy, zeal, and love, and for the part he would play in the founding of God's church. John, because he was a beloved of Christ, and James, because he was to be the head of the church of Jerusalem. Today, let us ask ourselves how close we are to Jesus and what our mission and purpose is on earth. We are told that the appearance of Jesus changed. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. This transformation demonstrates his divine nature and serves as a confirmation of his identity to the disciples. Indeed, Jesus was more than a great teacher. He was more than a charismatic leader. He was more than a reformer, and he was more than a healer. Jesus is the Son of God. It also served to prepare the disciples to accept the fate of the Messiah with faith and hope, and the promise that his death would not be the end of the story. The same way we are called today never to lose faith and trust in God when we go through trials and difficulties, because there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and the glory we see in Jesus today will one day be ours. The presence of Moses and Elijah in this event is also significant. Moses represents the law, and Elijah represents the prophets, symbolizing the fulfillment of the old covenant in Jesus. This moment underscores the continuity between the Old Testament and the mission of Jesus, emphasizing how it is the fulfillment of prophecy and the ultimate revelation of God's plan for salvation. It also serves to put to rest the debate about being one of the prophets who had come back to life. The voice of the Father from heaven, affirming Jesus as his beloved Son, reinforces the authority and legitimacy of Jesus' teachings. It serves as a reminder for the disciples to listen to Jesus and to follow his instructions. Today, let us ask ourselves if we truly trust God, if we listen to his words, the words we hear from the pulpit every time we come to church, the voice of our parents issuing instructions, the voice of our teachers and superiors, the voice of the laws guiding our land and peaceful coexistence, the voice to put an end to war and dissensions. Peter, in bewilderment of the Lord's glory and his desire to savor the moment, asked to build 3 tents. Don't we sometimes wish to enjoy the good things of life and neglect those in need? This brings to mind the thousands of homeless people who sleep out every night on cold floors, on the streets of our towns and cities, those who sleep under bridges and most inhumane conditions, the poor of Africa, who lack all the basic amenities and yet have leaders who live in expensive houses. Today reminds us never to forget to provide for those in need. And finally, the Transfiguration brings forth the importance of faith, obedience, and humility in our relationship with Jesus. It reminds us to recognize Jesus as the Son of God, listen to his teachings, and trust in him as the source of our salvation. Our future is not a grave, but eternal life. And to enjoy this glory, all we have to do is to hear always the words of the Father. This is my beloved Son. Listen to him.